I found out my life was worth less than a stolen wallet the day an 11-year-old girl ran off with it, and the part that should scare you is this: if I hadn't chased her, she and her mother might be dead right now. If a kid ever grabbed something off you and ran, would you see a criminal, or would you ever stop to ask why? Let me tell you what I did, and you can decide if I was too late. It was one of those hot Manhattan afternoons where the sunlight hits the glass and steel like it's trying to burn through it, cabs leaning on their horns like it's a sport, tourists blocking the sidewalk with shopping bags and selfie sticks, food carts smoking on every corner, that cocktail of exhaust and pretzels hanging in the air. I walked out of my building on 53rd, and Lex, marble lobby chrome elevators, security guys with earpieces, the whole look that says, if you're in here, you belong. And in my head, I was already in the next 3 meetings. My life back then was measured in quarter hours. I built a fund that touched more zeros than most people will see in 10 lifetimes. And I wore that like armor. You know what I mean? Like if everything looked sharp, nothing soft could get in. Suit pressed navy, not a wrinkle. Tie perfect. Shoes polished to a mirror. On my wrist, a Patek ticking in smug little beats. I didn't come from money, I clawed my way up, so yeah, I was arrogant about it. I thought I'd earned the right to believe the city worked for people like me. Then she hit me. Just a bump at first. A small frame and a dark hoodie clipped my side, a quick sorry that barely brushed my ears, and she slipped past into the flow of bodies. Reflex made my hand go to my inside pocket. Empty. I stopped right there on the sidewalk like someone hit pause. Reached again. Still nothing. My wallet, cards, ID keys to basically everything, gone. In a heartbeat, my brain went from logistics to fury. It wasn't the cash that's pocket change in my world, it was the feeling, this hot, ugly spark that someone had reached into my space and taken something, and for a man who built his life on control, that is unforgivable. I spun around and saw her. Same hoodie, same slight shoulders, moving fast, not strolling, not lost, just purposeful, cutting through people like she belonged in that chaos. "Hey!" I yelled. She didn't look back. I went after her. Yeah, that happened. Billionaire in a perfect suit running down Lexington like a linebacker who missed his cue. People stared, some laughed, some stepped aside. I didn't care. In my head, it was simple. You stole from the wrong guy. Kid, I'm going to make a point. That voice, if I'm honest, wasn't about justice. It was about ego. She was quick. She cut left between a food cart and a parked truck, slipped through a space I actually had to fight my way into the air, thick with grill smoke and gasoline. My shoulder slammed metal, my knee lit up with pain, but I kept going. She hopped a low barrier, slid past stack of busted pallets, legs moving like she'd practiced this route. Then the city made a decision for both of us. The strap of her cheap sandal snapped. She stumbled, skidded forward on her hands, caught herself, tried to run again, but she'd lost steps she couldn't afford. The alley she'd chosen closed into a dead end. Crumbly brick wall at the back, chain link, and dumpsters closing the sides. No fire escape, no back door. She turned to face me, chest heaving. Her hood slipped back. And right there, everything I was about to say dried up. She was a kid, 11, maybe 12. Big brown eyes, curls frizzed and matted dirt on her cheeks like it had been there for days, not minutes. Lips cracked. She looked tired in a way no child should look. No smug grin, no tough act, just a cornered animal look, wary and worn out. My wallet was pressed against her chest so hard her knuckles were white. I forced my voice flat. "You have no idea who you just stole from." She didn't answer, didn't cry, didn't beg. "I should call the police." I went on, pulling my phone out slowly so she could see it. "You know that, right?" Nothing. Not even a twitch at the word police. That's when something buzzed in the back of my mind. Kids who are scared of cops flinch. Kids who are used to them don't. "What were you going to do with it?" I snapped, stepping closer. "Max out my cards, buy a new phone, grab some shoes, have yourself a fun little day." That jab landed, but not how I expected. Her expression flickered like I'd insulted something deeper than her scheme. "I wasn't going to keep it," she said finally, voice rough like she was used to shouting over noise or swallowing words. "I just needed cash, for something." "For what?" She glanced toward the street, then back at me. "My mom," she said. "She's sick." Now I'd heard it all. People lie with tears, with stories, with Bible verses. I was ready to write it off. But then she did something con artists don't do. She held the wallet out to me. "Everything's still there," she said. "You can check, I'm sorry." I opened it. Every card, every dollar untouched. "You risked all this," I said, "just to hand it back." "I panicked," she said. I didn't know what else to do. Nobody listens when you ask." That line hit me. Not because it was dramatic, because it wasn't. It sounded like a fact she'd tested. If it were you in that alley standing in $400 worth of fabric looking at a shaking kid with your wallet in her hands, what would you have done? Call it in, teach her a lesson, walk away, or something else? Where do you live? I asked. She stiffened. You gonna call the cops to my door, make it easy. I said where? She stared at me, sizing me up better than I had sized her. Then she jerked her chin. Not far. I had my wallet back. Right there was my exit. This whole story could have ended with me smoothing my tie and getting a good anecdote for a dinner party. That's the part I still think about at night. None of what came next was destiny. It was choice. Take me, I said, show me. We walked. And block by block, the New York that sends postcards turned into the New York most people pretend they don't see. Buildings got shorter and more tired, paint-peeled sidewalks, cracked windows barred. A neon sign over a corner store buzzed like a trapped fly. People sat on stoops, not enjoying the sun, but surviving it. She moved like she knew every corner to avoid hugging walls, stepping around certain doorways like trouble had a map, and she'd memorized it. We ducked into a narrow building with a chipped green door. Inside the hallway smelled like mildew, old grease, and hot dust. One dim bulb wires hanging, no elevator. Doors marked with stickers, marker tape. She hit the stairs fast. I followed, my expensive shoes sticky on the warped steps. Third floor. Door with a crooked paper star taped to it. Inside was a room that should make a lot of people ashamed. It was small, barely space for the thin mattress on the floor, a busted table propped with old magazines, one tired fan clicking like a metronome. On that table I saw a stack of empty soup cans, an almost empty bottle of cheap painkillers, a pharmacy bag with a crumpled receipt, and an open notebook filled with blocky handwriting. Times, doses, symptoms. No TV, no framed pictures, just survival. In a worn armchair near the only window slumped a woman. Her skin was too pale under a sheen of sweat. Her breathing was shallow, uneven. Her eyes shifted under half-closed lids but didn't land on anything. Her hands twitched weakly. Her chest stuttered more than it rose. The girl rushed to her. "Mama," she whispered, wringing out a cloth from a bowl and laying it on her forehead like she had done it 100 times. "She's burning again. She ran out of her patch. They said we had to pay full. We couldn't." I stepped closer, picked up the pharmacy bag, read the label. Heart medication, no refills. Total circled in red. It wasn't cheap. "Why didn't you go back to the hospital?" I asked. "We did," the girl said quietly. "Sat there all night. They said we got to see a specialist, pay first. We couldn't. They gave us some pills and told us to follow up with a doctor we don't have. Then we came back. Like a weather report, like that's just how it goes." I checked the woman's pulse, weak, skin hot. This was bad. "I'm calling an ambulance," I said. "Please don't," she blurted, real fear flashing now. "They're already mad about money. Last time they sent us a paper with numbers we can't pay. Mom said if we go again they might call people, they might take me, or they'll just send her home to die. Please." Her voice cracked. "Hey," I said, softening without thinking, "I've got it." While I'm on the phone, something caught my eye on the floor partway under the mattress. A cracked frame glass, broken papers, bent. I nudged it out with my shoe. It was a certificate, a community health grant given to the clinic nearby. Signed by a foundation. My foundation. Remember that. That's the twist nobody claps for. The paramedics arrived, rolled Angela onto a stretcher, voices low and urgent. Matilda's hand clung to the side rail until they pried it off. "Only one can ride," one medic said. "She goes," I told him, nodding at Matilda. "I'll be right behind you." At the hospital, the name Eric Bryan changed the temperature of the room. Happens all the time, I just had never hated it until that night. They moved fast. Machines, blood work, scans. They asked who was responsible for billing. I said I was. Suddenly, everything was smoother. While we were waiting outside the trauma bay, 2 NYPD officers walked up, uniformed, calm. "Mr. Bryan," one said, "we received a report earlier, stolen wallet suspect described as a juvenile female. Hospital cameras put her with you. We're here to follow up." Matilda stiffened so hard the chair creaked. "That's been handled," I said. "She returned it. No loss. I'm not pressing anything." "She has a prior citation on record," he replied. "Shoplifting. We're obligated to bring her in for questioning, see if there's a pattern." He actually reached for his cuffs. Matilda stepped back, eyes wide. "I gave it back," she whispered. "Please, I'm not leaving my mom." "Sir," the officer said, "this is protocol." I stepped between them. "She's not leaving this hallway in cuffs. For everyone's safety, we prefer restraints." "She is 11, I said. "She watched her mother almost die 30 minutes ago. You slap cuffs on her in front of that door, and I swear to you this will be the last quiet shift you work for a month. Do you think that's fair? Is that the best use of your badge right now?" Silence. He looked at me, then at her. "We'll wait," he said finally. "But we're not leaving." "Fine," I answered. You can stand there and witness something useful for once." Inside, the cardiologist walked us through Angela's condition. Heart failure, infections, complications on top of complications. He mentioned an experimental drug being used in Europe, promising results not yet approved here, wildly expensive, wrapped in regulations. "For families without strong resources," he said carefully, "it's not really an option. For this one, I said it is. Find out what it takes." I started making calls. Geneva, London, pharma execs, people who owed me favors. The same network that had gotten me exclusive deals and insider invitations was now being leaned on for one woman in a busted armchair. I told them to put the drug on a plane. If you're thinking that's the happy ending, wait. The drug arrived faster than it should be legal for anything to arrive. By then, Angela was spiraling. Matilda looked like she hadn't blinked in an hour. Machines beeped in a rhythm that made my spine go cold. The head doctor pulled me aside. "We can use it," he said, "but there's only one way that makes medical sense. We induce a controlled cardiac arrest, administer the drug, and attempt to restart. It's high risk. Legally, we need consent. She's not conscious. As temporary proxy, that's you." He handed me a tablet. "Digital waiver. Sign here if you're willing to carry this weight. If we do nothing," he said, "she has almost no chance. If we try this, we're taking a shot in the dark. A smart shot, but still." Matilda heard enough to understand. She stepped up beside me. "You said we'd try everything," she whispered. "Please." My hand hovered. I make risk calls for a living, but those are numbers and trends, not a girl watching my pen like it's a gun. And this is where the real twist hits. I suddenly saw that broken grant certificate again. My signature on money meant to help people exactly like Angela that clearly hadn't reached her the way it should have. The same system I had polished my reputation on had already failed them before I even knew they existed. I wasn't just some hero walking in clean. I'd been a ghost on the other side of their no. I signed. We watched through the glass. They cooled her body, hooked up more wires, counted down, switched off the support for a beat that felt like a lifetime. The flatline tone cut through everything. Matilda's hand crushed mine. "Please," she whispered, not sure who she was talking to. First shock, nothing. Second, nothing. Third, the line jumped, then steadied into a weak but living rhythm. "We've got a pulse," a nurse called. I swear I felt something in my chest crack open. Later, a younger doctor came to us. "The drug is working," he said. "Heart's responding, organs stabilizing. But there is likely damage from the arrest. Right now she has no motor response from the waist down. Could be temporary, could be long-term. We'll need time tests, rehab." Matilda wiped her face, nodded. "She's alive," she said. "We'll figure it out." Out in the hallway when the doctors left, she turned to me, small and fierce at the same time. "We don't have a home anymore," she said. "They're locking our building. Mom can't walk, can't work. I can't pay for a nurse or anything. What are we supposed to do? Sleep here forever?" I'd spent my career building exits for myself. For once, I built one for someone else. "Come stay with me," I said. "Both of you. I have space medical support people I can pay to help. We'll get her into rehab. You'll go to school, no time limit." She stared, trying to see the trick. "Why?" she asked. "Because taking a victory lap for signing one form isn't enough," I said. "Because walking away now would prove every bad thing people say about men like me. Because I should have shown up sooner." So they moved in. It wasn't some glossy charity ad. It was messy. Angela hated being dependent. The first week she snapped, "I've got it," at everyone who offered to help adjust her chair or bring her water. Her hands shook anyway. She cried once in the shower because she couldn't stand up, then pretended she didn't. Matilda hovered like she was afraid someone would come in with a clipboard and say there'd been a mistake. "You don't owe us this," Angela said one night, voice low. "I know," I told her. "I don't want to be your good deed." "You're not," I said. "You're my responsibility now, if you'll let me say it that way. And I don't mean that like ownership. I mean I stepped in and I'm not stepping out." She held my gaze for a long moment, then looked away, but the edge in her shoulders softened a little. Matilda tested it more slowly. She kept a bag half-packed in her closet, asked 3 times if she really was allowed to write her name on the chore chart the housekeeper made. One night she came to my office door, knocking so softly I almost missed it. "I need to say something," she murmured, sliding into the chair opposite me. "I'm sorry I took your wallet. Not because you're rich, because you were just walking, not bothering anyone, and I turned you into a target. You didn't deserve that." I let that sit, then said, "I've had men in suits steal from me with contracts and fine print and lunch meetings, and none of them ever said sorry. You did. That tells me everything I need to know about you." "You still trust me?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "I do, because trust isn't about never screwing up. It's about what you do after." "I want to be someone you're proud of," she whispered. "You already are," I told her, and her shoulders finally dropped. From there, life did not turn perfect, but it turned real. Mornings in the sunroom, Angela in her chair by the big window, Matilda with a backpack that wasn't falling apart. Me actually drinking coffee without checking emails for 5 minutes. Angela started rehab. First nothing, then a twitch, then a toe that moved once and made all three of us cry. Some days there was progress, some days there was pain and swearing. We stayed. We enrolled Matilda in a good school nearby. First week she was quiet, kept her head down. Kids can be kind, kids can be cruel. One afternoon she came home with her jaw tight, eyes glassy but dry. "How was school?" I asked. "Fine," she said. Later I found her in the backyard. It came out in bits. A boy had called her my project, asked if I bought them as a package deal. Laughed about being sponsored. It hit me harder than she wanted me to show. We sat by the little fountain out back. "I don't want people to think I'm just your story," she said. "If you ever get tired of us, just tell me. I can handle honest." "Listen," I said, turning to face her. "You and your mom are not here on a trial basis. You are not evidence in my defense. You're not a PR strategy. You're here because when you crashed into my life, you ripped the cover off how empty it was. You belong in this house because we choose each other. That's it." She leaned her head on my shoulder, stayed there until the sky went pink. A couple days later, she taped a drawing to the fridge. 3 stick figures. One in a wheelchair, one with messy hair, one tall with a little blue scribble tie. Above them in crooked letters, "Home." I stared at that thing like it was a contract for a better life. One slow morning, Angela watched me and Matilda stumbling through breakfast, me burning toast, her laughing. "I used to pray," Angela said quietly when we were alone. "Not for miracles, just for one person who'd see us and not step over us." After a while I stopped, didn't think anyone was listening. Then you showed up. "Don't make me a saint," I muttered. "Oh, I'm not," she said, smiling a little. "I'm just saying you didn't walk away. That counts." So here's where I leave it with you, and this is where it might get uncomfortable. Angela is alive because I could get a drug flown in overnight. Matilda isn't in cuffs or a group home because I stepped in front of 2 cops and said no. They have a home now because my money and my name had the leverage their honesty and hard work never did. Is that justice or is that an indictment? If it were you, would you have chased her or ignored it? Called the cops or heard her out? Signed the risky consent or let the doctors stick to safe protocol? Invited them in or kept them at arm's length with a check and a pat on the head? Do you think it's right that in a city with millions of people, their survival came down to stealing from the one man who had both a conscience and a Rolodex? That's the part that keeps me up. I spent years funding programs and cutting ribbons and feeling good about charts with my logo at the top, while a woman whose clinic hung my certificate on the wall sat in a rotting apartment being turned away at the door. The twist isn't that I saved them. The twist is I was part of the system that failed them until the moment it got personal. So tell me what you think. Was letting Matilda go without charges the right call, or did I use my power to bend the rules just because I liked her? Was bringing them into my home an act of love, or is it messed up that their safety rests on one rich guy staying in a generous mood? If you've stood on any side of this, needing help, you couldn't afford working in a system that turns people away, or being the one who had enough to change something, I want you to share it. Drop your thoughts in the comments, argue with me, call me naive, tell me what you would have done in that alley, in that hallway, at that signature line. If this story made you look twice at the kid everyone's ready to label a thief hit, like so more people see it, share it with someone who thinks these situations are black and white, and subscribe if you want more real stories that don't end when it gets uncomfortable. Because their story isn't wrapped in a bow, mine isn't either, and neither is yours. And maybe the next time somebody bumps into you on the street, instead of just checking your pockets, you'll check your heart a little too.